We would like to personally thank each and every one of you who came here from near and far, and we want you to know how grateful we are that you were part of Mona's life. Today, we want to celebrate Mona and her life, a life filled with good deeds and acts of kindness. We want to share with you her amazing accomplishments, all done in 26 years of life. Mona was a writer, distinguished student, published author, singer, and musician who played violin and piano. She spoke 5 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, French, Hebrew, and English. And she possessed a great sense of humor in all of them. We were so blessed to have Mona in our family, and it was tremendously gratifying to witness this remarkable child as she grew. She taught herself how to read at age 3 and avidly read nearly a book a day for the rest of her life. While attending the 92nd Street Wide Nursery School, Mona went to the American Museum of Natural History with her class to see the dinosaurs. She was able to read to her classmates the names of all the dinosaurs because she had already read several books about them. In 1st grade, she won the spelling bee on the word metamorphosis. I still can't spell. In 9th grade, after she completed algebra, Mona asked the school to allow her to take pre-calculus, which was only taught in 11th grade. So that summer, Mona read and taught herself the entire geometry book, then took the honors geometry test the first week of school and got a 95. As a result, the school put her in super honors pre-calculus class. She had her way. In 10th grade, she received the Upper School of Vermont's Community Service Award for the many, many years that she warmly gave of her time tutoring underprivileged students with learning disabilities. She taught them all the English and Hebrew subjects. As a teenager, Mona had her original story published in a national literary magazine. She had her original poem voted #1 by readers of Teen Inc. monthly journal. It was featured on their front page and read by hundreds of thousands of people. Mona was published several times in the annual anthology of Girls Write Now, which is a writing-based mentoring program for high school girls who are gifted writers. She was named Advanced Placement Scholar with Distinction by the College Board, and she was also recognized as a National Merit Scholar. She was a member of her high school and college math teams, a peer tutor in geometry and English, and managing editor and story contributor of her high school literary magazine. She was also a member of the School Environmental Protection Society and found time to be a soprano in the Children's Aid Society chorus. She was a volunteer for Dorot, a nonprofit group that visits the elderly, and also volunteered at a nursing home where she brightened the day of all those she met with her shining eyes and beautiful smile. At 16, she attended the Columbia University Summer Advanced Creative Writing Program, where she was applauded by her professors for having a rich imagination and straightforward, engaging writing style, and for producing lively and successful literary translations from Portuguese and French. She was the only student in the course who could translate from 2 languages. At 17, she was accepted into the prestigious University of Iowa Young Writers Summer Studio for Gifted Writers, and also the University of Pennsylvania Pre-College Program, achieving a GPA of 4.0. At 18, Mona was only one of 2 persons chosen from a pool of nearly 1,000 applicants by the Columbia University Oral History Research Department to work on their 9/11 oral history project. In Mona's own words, and I quote, "For 6 weeks, I poured through tons of transcripts, reading about the lives of African burialists, female firefighters, teachers, students, diplomats, survivors, first responders, and so many more, writing analyses for each one and developing a thematic catalog in which I found passages in the interviews which belonged in certain themes. Each interview stood out on its own, illustrating the life of one person. Each of these lives, though, had blended with the others to create one collective memory, one complete vision of the event that had broken the city irreparably just a few years earlier." End quote. Mona skipped 12th grade of high school and first year of college. She began college as a sophomore in Simon's Rock at Bard College. While there, she was a contributor to the college literary magazine, sang as a soprano in the school chorus, and was a member of the creative writing and math clubs. She also found time to be a peer tutor, teaching math and writing to her fellow students. The following year, Mona transferred to Mount Holyoke College and moved to Massachusetts. There, she received the Catherine Gray McFarland Award for Excellence in Creative Writing and was twice awarded the School Psychology Department Award for Academic Excellence. She found time to become the activities coordinator at Best Buddies of Mount Holyoke, which was established to help people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. She was the editor and a contributing writer for the Black Stick Review, the college literary magazine. In addition, she was a pal at Horizons for Homeless Children, an organization whose mission is to improve the lives of young homeless children and their families. At age 20, Mona moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts, where she became a research assistant for both the Harvard University Lab for Developmental Studies and the Harvard University Social Cognitive and Affective Neuroscience Lab. She studied pro-social behaviors in children and adults. She recruited participants, ran studies, and collected data both at the lab and at the Museum of Science in Boston. She still found time to teach music to 120 underprivileged children and develop activities that promoted safe and engaging social interaction at the Academy Choir of Boston, where she was also a singer. She worked at the Cambridge, Mass. Community Services Creative Action Project, where she was involved in creative writing, drama, and art. She loved volunteering at the Watertown, Mass. Library, where she taught basic engineering concepts to youngsters using Lego projects. In 2014, Mona lobbied for and helped pass the Domestic Workers' Bill of Rights in Massachusetts through her work at Matahari, a nonprofit for immigrant women of color who are mostly domestic workers. She managed the newsletter, social media outlets, and planned events and compiled valuable research on immigration reform. Mona translated a guidebook into Spanish for homeless people, which is now widely used to help them find general resources, housing, legal assistance, and education. While in her early 20s, Mona was a tutor for the Sudanese Education Fund in Boston, where she worked with female refugees from war-torn South Sudan. Those refugees had witnessed genocide, torture, and mutilation of their families and communities. They were broken people. Mona taught them math, reading, and English, as well as GED preparation. She was so good that some of her students made it to college despite their formal education often ending in the 8th grade. Mona helped change their lives from one of hopelessness to a life full of hope, promise, and possibilities. This is what she lived for and what brought her inner peace and happiness. One day she was teaching one of the young Sudanese girls while the mother quietly listened as she went about her household duties. Mona said something to the young girl which made the young girl laugh out loud. Suddenly, the mother began crying and tears streamed down her face onto the floor. Mona asked if she had done something to upset her. The mother replied, "No, you did nothing wrong. This is the first time in her life that my daughter has ever laughed." Mona was so gentle and sweet. She had a soft, delicate, sometimes childlike voice. When she spoke to me, it was like singing. She would call me up, I would say hello, and she would say, "Hi." You know. She never left her childhood innocence behind. Until the very end, Mona slept with the bear that she received as a toddler. She named her bear Persephone. This very same sweet girl could get on all fours, make eye contact, and engage a baby at their level, and then later on that day, match wits with a Harvard-trained PhD using her giant intellect. Mona was a pure spirit, unblemished and unaffected by the impurity which permeates our society. She was always honest, straight, and gave you her unvarnished opinion, even if uncomfortable and controversial to the listener. She was a staunch defender of the oppressed and a champion of social justice, not only in words, but in deeds. For someone who was all about reading and writing, her greatest achievements were through her acts of kindness, person to person, and in continually striving to make life better for the downtrodden and indigent through her dynamic participation in charitable organizations. Who was Mona, and what is her legacy? Mona was quietly distinguished. She was a person of exquisite sensitivity and sensibility. She was angelic and virtuous. She was humble. The incredible amount of good deeds that I've spoken about today were all done quietly and under the radar. Mona never spoke about them, nor at any time ever sought personal recognition for them. We only found out after her passing. The measure of a true and selfless act of giving is that only two parties know about it: the one performing the act of kindness and the recipient. That's the way she wanted it. Mona was a truly outstanding human being and a gifted writer with a unique voice and towering mind. Her unquenchable thirst for learning, coupled with an unending desire to do acts of kindness for those who needed help, will continue to inspire young and old alike. This is who Mona was. The positive impact that our beloved daughter had on others is indelible and enduring. This is her legacy, and why she will be remembered forever by all those whose lives she touched. Mona, you are the sunshine of our lives, and your pure light will continue to shine inside us for eternity. I would like to conclude by reciting the lyrics of a waltz written by my favorite piano player, Bill Evans, the renowned jazz pianist, for his own daughter. In her own sweet world, populated by dolls and clowns, and a prince and a little white bear, lives my favorite girl, unaware of the worried frowns that we weary grown-ups all wear. In the shining sun, she dances to silent music, songs that are spun of gold somewhere in her own little head. One day, all too soon, she'll grow up and she'll leave her dolls and her prince and her silly old bear. When she goes, they will cry as she whispers goodbye. They will miss her, I know, but then so will I.
Mm.